The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon and welcome everyone. My name is Aubrey McLaughlin. I'm the Director of Alumni Professional Networks for the University of Maryland Alumni Association. We're excited you're able to join us for today's webinar, How Networking Can Lead to Great Business Success, presented by Dr. Sinclair Grey. This webinar is part of the Alumni Association's Professional Development Webinar Series, which we hope to provide thought-provoking and valuable content that will help alumni like you achieve your personal and professional goals. We have a lot of information to cover today, but we will be taking questions throughout the duration of the webinar. Please feel free to submit any questions you have using the question box located in the GoToWebinar control panel. Dr. Grey is a committed advocate for communal change and has dedicated much of his life to mobilizing and inspiring others to achieve their true potential as an inspirational speaker, motivator, and author. A native of Washington, D.C., Dr. Grey graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Criminology from the University of Maryland in 1991. After receiving his call to preach in 1997, he earned a Master's of Divinity degree from the Samuel DeWitt Proctor School of Theology at Virginia Union University in 2002. He is a certified NTU psychotherapist and has received certifications of completion from the Addiction Prevention and Recovery Administration in psychopharmacological and adolescent addiction issues, in addition to serving as facilitator for a rites of passage program geared towards young males. He recently also received his Doctorate of Divinity in 2012. Sinclair is also the author of 6 books: Seeds of Freedom, Inspirational Messages for Ordinary People with Extraordinary Potential; God Held Back Your Night So That You Can Get It Right; It's in You, Motivational Messages That Will Help Uplift and Empower You; Positive Living Through Positive Affirmations; So You Think You Want to Date, Thoughts and Reflections on Wise, Skillful Dating; and the ABCs of Making Business Networking Work for You. As a freelance writer, Dr. Grey writes over 17 articles each week that travel to different news outlets globally. He formerly hosted his own radio show and television show called The Sinclair Grey Show that dealt with issues in business, education, and politics, just to name a few. Dr. Grey has been inducted into Cambridge's Who's Who for his work in advocating empowerment and justice. And now we'll get started. Sinclair, take it away.
Thank you so much. Once again, so happy to be with everyone on this call. Such a beautiful day. I know here in the beautiful city of Atlanta, Georgia, we finally have some sunshine. And I've heard that recently in Maryland, without any sunshine, now you have some sun. So it's going to be a great, beautiful day. And I'm hoping that we can have a very interesting, thought-provoking conversation dialogue on the topic of how networking leads to great business success. I definitely want to thank all of you who have taken time out of your busy schedule to tune in and to listen, to become educated, empowered in order to do business well. Just want to kind of give you a little heads up. So I'm a graduate from the University of Maryland. Enjoyed my time there. And then moved to Georgia in 2014 after spending probably close to all my life in Maryland. Just came to Atlanta, Georgia, just pretty much just for a change of life and a change of routine. And one of the things that when I came to Georgia, I really didn't know anybody. I just had family, but really didn't know anyone in the business world. Went to my first business networking event, and from that event, meeting the right person, I was able to learn so much information on networking better and the true meaning of how networking can lead to great business success. Through that, I was able to host my own radio show, my own television show, as well as belong to some very powerful Chamber of Commerce and networking groups. I'm not saying all that to brag, but to just let you know, if you really put yourself out there and you learn how to network properly with the right people, ask the right questions, and just simply show up, great opportunities will be presented to you. So one of the things I want to kind of talk about today about this whole concept of networking, because one of the things that as people who go to college, you know, when we go to college, we're taught to learn as much as we can, become educated, join different groups, join different organizations. And oftentimes we're networking, but we really don't understand the whole concept of networking. And basically, I want to kind of help you identify what networking really is, and then kind of give you some steps in order to make networking work for you. One of the things that you have to understand when it comes to networking is that what are your intentions? What are you hoping to get? What are you hoping to give? Let me go ahead and say that again. In networking, it has to be a give and take relationship. Too many times, business owners and those in the business world, they just want to simply just receive, get as much information as they can, get as many deals, make as many new appointments, but they have nothing to give in the process. So networking is a two-way relationship whereby you're doing something for a common good to help each other out. One of the things I want to take a pause real quick. If any of you have any questions in the process, please go ahead and submit your questions in the process during this presentation, and I'll go ahead and answer them. So we want to make sure that you're able to get your questions in, we can answer them, and kind of make this a lively conversation. So let's not wait to the end. If you want to, that's fine, but I don't want you to wait to the end to ask a question, because oftentimes we may forget what we want to ask. So go ahead. If you have a question right now, go ahead and submit your questions. Getting back to what I was saying about networking. One of the things is a give and take. It's building a mutual relationship. So when you're in the business world, you have to ask yourself the question, what are you hoping to get in a business relationship? Too many times, everything is always one-sided rather than two-sided. Need to say that again. Oftentimes, business owners go to networking events. They have a bunch of business cards, and they sit there and they want to pass out card after card after card. Next thing you know, they're wondering how come nobody calls them, how come no one follows up with them, and they're frustrated, they become aggravated, and all of a sudden they realize that networking simply isn't for them. And the reason why is simply because they went to the networking event and they were simply about passing out business cards after business cards and trying to close deals, trying to sell their business rather than trying to build relationships. So one of the things one point I want to kind of leave you with right now, start off right now, about networking leads to great business success is one thing you need to have the right attitude. Having the right attitude when it comes to networking can either open doors for you or it can close doors for you. By having the right attitude, when you go to a networking event, whether it's a small, intimate networking event or a larger event, one of the things you want to do, you want to go and you want to have fun. You want to understand that it's a social environment. You want to have as much fun as possible. If you're like me, in the beginning, I was an introvert, which simply means I can walk into the room, I can find a corner, I'll sit in the corner. And unfortunately, that's what too many business owners do. They go to a networking event and they sit in the corner. They don't want to engage. They don't want to start any type of conversation because they feel that they're intruding on somebody. They don't have the right words to say. So what's happening, they're already going there with a bad attitude. They're going there not with a positive attitude, but the attitude of uncertainty and attitude of doubting. So one of the things I like to train people on and teach people is that when you go and see, I'm going to have a great time. I'm looking forward to meeting people. I'm looking forward to making new relationships. I'm looking forward to having new connections. Because one of the things what happens when your attitude, people can read right through your through your spirit. You heard I'm a certified NTU psychotherapist. What that really tells is really kind of creating a harmony. This kind of doing so much in the psychotherapeutic world, but one of the things we really teach people is that you have to create a harmony. People call it rapport. I like to call it building a connection. Does the person feel comfortable with you? Do they really see sincerity? Do they really see your true authenticity? Or are they seeing someone when they're being approached? Do they see someone, okay, you know what, this person's trying to make a sale. This person is trying to schedule me on their calendar. This person is just someone who's just giving me a business card because they're just simply here with the wrong purpose and wrong idea. So one of the things I like to do whenever I host a networking event every week for local business owners, and I'm part of a chamber. So they pretty much all know me. They've all gone through some type of training that I've done. You got to have the right attitude, because when you have the right attitude, you go there smiling, you go there happy, you go there simply joyful, whether it's raining on the outside, whether it's sunny, whether you have a good day or a bad day. It's all about how you project your attitude inside the networking environment. So if you're having a bad day, and you're going to a networking event, like I said, if you're having a bad day, things aren't going your way, take a few moments, sit in the car, go to the restroom, whatever you need to do, just kind of gather your thoughts. Breathe, take some deep breaths, say some kind words, positive words to yourself, and then go into the room with a positive attitude. Not that you could close the deal. If you close one, hey, that's great. But go into the room and say, hey, look, I'm here to meet as many people as I can, to help as many people as I can. That's what you need to do. You need to go there with the attitude of trying to help. One of the things, and I'm gonna help you out right now. One of the things I always do, and I'm skipping ahead, but I think I want to go ahead and deal with it when it comes to dealing with one's attitude, is that when you meet somebody, ask them how their day is going. Ask them if there's anything you can help them with. Just try to find out about a person. Oftentimes, we go to networking events with an attitude of, if you're not the right person, I'm not going to talk to you. But in a real sense, you don't know who that person may know or who that person may be able to put you in contact with. So when you go there, a lot of times we go to networking events. First question is, hi, what's your name? What you do? As if who they are and what they do will determine whether we talk to them or not. One of the things I like to do when I go and I meet somebody, hi, how are you doing? How's your day coming? What's your name? My name is here. You know, what brings you here today other than networking? Throw something out of the box, because you're simply there having a positive attitude. Smile. Don't frown. Don't look upset. You have to smile. You have to have the right attitude, because like I said, when you have the right attitude, as many people say, the right attitude will take you to the right altitude. Next thing I want to talk about after attitude, I want to talk about confidence. When it comes to networking for success, you have to be confident. If you're not confident, it shows. If you don't know what you're selling or what you're providing, it shows. Too many people, when you ask them what they do, they have the foggiest idea, or they can't articulate it clearly. So if you are in a position, if someone happens to ask you, what do? You need to be confident with your answer, confident with your body posture, and confident in your tone, because your confidence goes off to the other individual that this person is someone I can do business with. I want to give you an example. I was at a networking event probably about 2 months ago, and it's a young lady there. I've seen her at this event several times. Very nice young lady. Every time I see her, she tries to tell me, as well as some of my colleagues, what she does in her business. I have the foggiest idea. To this day, I really can't tell you what she does. Number one, she has a great attitude. For her confidence, just hearing everything coming out of her mouth, I keep asking myself, does she know what she's doing? And two, is she confident in what she does? Is she confident in telling a group that she is the person that we need to know, that we need to refer business to? I don't know how successful she is, but her confidence, her lack of confidence is very telling. Nothing against the individual. However, her confidence really is lacking. It comes across as one not being sure of herself. And I'm here to let you know, you have to be sure of who you are. Why are you there? If you are a business owner, you have to be confident in doing what you do. Do you like what you do? Are you knowledgeable of what you do? Can you communicate what you do to an individual from as an elementary school student all the way to a college professor? One of the things I like to use as an analogy, if you remember Twitter, I think all of us probably used Twitter at one time or another. Before Twitter expanded its character to 280 characters, Twitter had, I believe it was 140 characters. Many people complained, said it was too short. Now it's too long. But 140 characters was good, simply because if you can't communicate what you do to somebody in 140 characters, then that's a problem. Same thing with network. If you can't communicate with someone what you do in a short amount of words, then that's a problem. So you have to be confident. So networking leads to great success. So like I said, we have an attitude, but we also have to be confident, because when you're trying to build relationships, and this is what we're simply talking about simply building relationships. People want to do with business. People want to do business with those that they like, that they know, and that they trust. And the best way to do it is by projecting the right confidence. So you may be asking yourself, well, Sinclair, that's something I struggle with sometimes is confidence because I don't like talking. Well, I'm here to let you know that's something you can get over with. The more you do it, the better you'll get. Just like those who play sports. That's why they have practice before the actual game. For all of us who are University of Maryland alumni, that's why our football team is doing good this year because they keep practicing. They practice Monday through Friday so that on Saturday, they're able to go out there and play. They're able to go out there and perform. So the more you do it, the better you will become. So that's how you overcome lack of confidence. Ask people, what do they see when they see you? What type of feeling do they get when they hear words coming out of your mouth about business? So remember, we always have to be confident in order for our business to grow. The next thing I want to talk about how networking leads to great business success. Two words that many people don't like to use is called follow-up. Follow-up, follow-up, follow-up. When I lived in Maryland, I went to a training for a young lady named Peg, and she titled her training, "The Fortune is in the Follow-Up." I need to stress how important follow-up is, and that's one of the reasons why many people are failing in networking and failing in their business is simply because they don't follow up. Think about it. You get somebody's business card, you met someone, you spent some time with them, you've asked some questions, you kind of share some information about your business, you've kind of told them about what separates you from your competitors, what makes you different, heck, what even makes you likable, why they should get to know you. You received all their information, you come home, you feel good, and yet you sit their business card, you sit their information down on your desk, and you do nothing with it. No phone call, no text, no email, no LinkedIn, no follow-up. And follow-up is just not a one-time thing. Follow-up is continuous, not to sell them something, but to continue building on that business relationship. And once you follow up and you learn that there is a fortune in a follow-up, then you will make that a part of your daily routine. That's one of the reasons I have to tell you, that's one reason why I am successful down here in Georgia. I learned the importance of follow-up. Whenever I get someone's business card at any networking event, depending on what time it is, I will go ahead, I will email them, say it was a pleasure meeting you. I will recap something that we talked about, and then I'm going to give you a secret. You want to ask them three things. You want to say, number one, when I meet with you, I would love to meet with you, get one to know you better. Number two, I want to learn about your business. And number three, I want to find out how I can help you. For those who are taking notes, once again, let me go ahead and repeat that again. When you meet someone at a networking event and you receive their business card, there was a dialogue, there was some type of communication. Go home, ask them the question, say, hi, let's say, Johnny, hi, Johnny, it was really nice meeting you at so-and-so networking event. Throw something in it that you guys talked about. Say, look here, Johnny, I would love to meet with you over a cup of coffee or tea sometime this week so I can learn a little bit more about you, your business, and how I can help. That is the follow-up. That's how you start building relationships. Notice a couple of things. Number one, I wasn't trying to sell them my product or my service. Number two, I want to get to know who they are. I want to know their business, and I want to know how I can help them. Business owners want to hear that. Business owners like to talk about themselves, even though they may not want to talk about themselves in a public setting, large networking events. But when you meet with them on a one-on-one basis, they will tell you a little bit more about who they are. They will tell you their likes and dislikes. They will tell you some of their goals in life. And with that, you're able to find out what type of person they are. You're able to find out their character. You can find out if there's any type of rapport that's being built. Are you really connecting? So once you find out, now you find out about their business. You find out why they went into business for themselves. You're able to find out what sets them apart. You're able to find out, do they love doing what they do? Because if they don't love doing what they do, how can you refer somebody to them, or how can you do business with them if they don't love doing what they do? So, and that whole concept, that little, half an hour to an hour, have fun, enjoy yourself. So once again, you're learning about them as an individual. Number two, you're learning about their business. But then the third thing, what many people struggle with, you ask them a question: what can I help you with? How can I help you? That's when you're technically putting them on the spot. That's when you're building a relationship, because now you're going from a person who not just wants to learn about them, but now you've gone to a person who wants to help them. And everybody in this life, I don't care how rich, how poor, how educated or uneducated you are, they all need help with something. So what you want to do, you want to ask them the simple question: what can I help you with? They're going to tell you. It may be business related, it may be personal related, but you're letting them know, how can I help you? It simply shows that you are different from anybody that they have met, because it's so easy to say, well, you hear about their business, you hear about them, and then all of a sudden you start talking about yourself. But you're not even offering to help them. If you offer to help them, and that's when you need to be a source and a resource. One of the things I love doing in my networking field, I love to refer. Can't tell you how often I refer businesses to individuals on a daily basis. That's because I've had the opportunity. I've met so many people. I know the people personally. Some I know better than others. That's a fact of life. But if I ask somebody, how can I help? Someone may say, well, you know what, Sinclair, I'm looking for somebody, who does garbage removal. I may be looking for somebody to do this. I may be looking for this, that, or whatever. I may not be able to do it myself. May not even be something I even offer in my business. But you know what? If I know somebody who offers that or can do something for them, I immediately give them a referral right there on the spot. Or I may call up the person while I'm talking to them and hand them my phone. What have I done? I've already built a great relationship with the individual, simply because I've taken the time to listen to their concerns. Here's an example. I was with a client about a month ago. I was doing some intensive coaching on relationship building, and she told me that she needed a website. And nothing really to do with what we're talking about. She said, Sinclair, I need a better website. My website is not really good at all. Can't find anyone to really do a good website for me. I happen to know two web designers very well. One happened to be out of the country, but the other one, I called him right there, right in front of her, told him that, I have a young lady who's looking for a website. I told her that you're the person that she needs to speak with. I'm going to give her your number. He said, thank you, Sinclair. She called him about an hour after our meeting. Next thing you know, he got the account. No hardcore selling on his part. How come? Because of the relationship I built with him as a web designer. He knows me, I know his work, but also my client knows the type of quality, my quality, my integrity, and the type of business person that I am, because I'm not bragging, I'm good at what I do. And because I referred someone, she said, you know what, Cynthia, because you referred him to me, that's all I need to know. If you referred him, I'll go and do business with him. Well, good news is he redid her website and looks so much better. But that's part of follow-up. That's part of getting to know someone. That's also part of asking the right questions. What can I help you with? So, like I said, if any of you have any questions in the meantime in the process, feel free to go ahead and ask as many questions as you want. I'll definitely be more than happy to answer your question. So we've already talked about having the right attitude. We've already talked about following up. Now we're going to talk about something called goals, on how networking leads to great business success. You got to have goals in life, because it's not, if you don't plan. What's the saying? People don't plan to fail; they fail to plan. So you have to have goals. Whenever you're in business for yourself, you have sales goals, you have goals for this, goals for that. Well, you ought to have some type of networking goals. How many networking events am I going to attend on a given week? Is it going to be one? Is it going to be two? Is it going to be three? So you have to establish how many goals that how many networking events you want to go through on a particular week. Number two, when you go into a particular event, ask yourself the question, I'm sorry, not ask yourself the question, put down, you want me at least anywhere from 5 to 10 good business connections. 5 to 10 business connections. If it's a large group, of course, the number goes up, but you can't meet everybody. That's one of the reasons I love going to networking functions, anywhere from 10 people to no more than 35. Now, some of you may be saying, well, you know what, Sinclair, that's a small group. I want the large group. Well, you know what? Large groups, that becomes more people passing out business cards, and I can't really engage in great conversation. If it's a group, no more than 35 within a 2-hour time limit, I can pretty much hit all 35 individuals, have fun, remember, have the right attitude, get their business card, give them my business card, follow up with them, and learn enough about them. So you got to have goals, because one of the things about being in business for yourself and networking, you have to have a goal. What is your goal? How many people do you want to connect with at a networking event? And then number two, how many people do you want to follow up with within that given week? How many people do you want to help in business? And how, of course, we already set a sales quota. As you have set a sales quota, also set a networking quota, because it will lead to success. I'm sure everybody's heard the phrase, it's not what you know, but who you know that opens doors for you. That is so true when it comes to the business. Networking will open doors for you. That doesn't discount knowledge, because you have to know what you're doing in order to fulfill that particular job, fulfill that particular task. However, if you have the right networking, if you make it a goal to meet the right people, to help people, that open doors for people, then that will lead you to success. So once again, networking leads to great business success. Simplified, you got to have goals. What is your goal? And you have to try to be as specific as possible on a monthly basis and on a weekly basis. I know you can't go to networking events every day. It would be nice if we could all network every day, but you got to have some type of goals. And one of the things I want to put in, I want to plug in, have business cards wherever you go. You have to have business cards wherever you go. Now, we're living in the tech world whereby a lot of people like doing digital business cards. That's nice. You have digital cards, but you also need to have cards that you can hand out to people. I was at a networking event today as Wednesday. I was at a networking event yesterday, one of my networking events yesterday. It was a really good event. I invited a good friend of mine to the event. I asked him, I said, man, where are your business cards? He said, Sinclair, I don't have business cards. I have digital cards. Well, that's good for him, but the group I invited him to, they all have business cards and they don't do digital cards. Now, somebody may be thinking right now, well, you know what? Maybe they should. They should become much more technological oriented, because that's what people are doing. That's what you hope for, but it's not always the case. So what happened is he got a whole bunch of business cards. He got everybody's business cards, but he could not pass out a business card at all, simply because he has a digital business card. So what happens is that too many times we're losing business, and we're missing out on building great relationships because we have nothing to hand out. So what happened yesterday is kind of let you know, I had to work a little bit harder for him to introduce him to the right people, even though it was 15 people at my group yesterday. I had to work a little bit harder with him to introduce him to the right people that can point him in the right direction. However, having all those business cards, having nothing passed out, you hope everybody remembers you. Now, what you have to do on that case, you have to follow up. And if you miss out on following up, you get no business. People don't remember you. And what happens if people don't remember you, they won't do business with you. And then all of a sudden you can't build a great relationship, because nobody has anything to look forward to. I don't have a business card to communicate. I don't have your phone number. I don't have your email. I have nothing to get in contact with you. And I hope I see you again. So what we have to do is understand that follow-up is important, but having a goal. So whenever we go to a networking event or wherever we're going, either outside, going to a friend's house, going to the store, going to the gym, going to alumni functions, wherever we're going, we ought to have business cards always available. Quality business cards, not business cards with the phone number scribbled out, or the email scribbled out. Simply go get some new, make sure it's a phone number, right email address, has your name, has your contact information, so that people can get in contact with you. Because remember, it's not so much they're doing, it's our doing. I want to back up and again, even though I've said, we want them to get in contact with us. It's important that we are the initiators. It's important that we are the ones that make the first step. We have to be the ones to go after the relationship. We have to be the ones to initiate the relationship, because we never know on their end. One, they may be too busy. Two, they may be fearful. Three, they just may not want to do it. They just might be waiting on us. So guess what? If we want to cultivate great relationships, if we want to have tremendous business success, we have to be the ones to go ahead and initiate the call. We have to be the ones to initiate everything on that. And that's one of the things that I like to talk about quite a bit, is we have to initiate. We have to be the aggressor. We have to be the one to always be the one who's picking up the phone, sending out the email, and the one trying to establish a relationship. Now, I don't want you to force yourself in a relationship, because there are some people, they just don't want a relationship with you. They just want to say hi and bye, and that's okay. You've done your job, but you go ahead and use your confidence. Be very confident, and you have to initiate, because all too often, if we keep waiting on people to call on us, if we keep waiting on people to reach out to us to establish a relationship, we will find ourselves miserable. We will find ourselves broke. We will find ourselves not being in business very long. And also we will not find ourselves successful, simply because we're waiting on somebody else to do for us than what we should be doing for ourselves. So that's one of the things I want. Another thing I want to talk about.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
We had a question come in, and I just wanted to.
Sure.
You had started talking about it a little bit, but I thought it was appropriate to bring up now. But is there any advice that you could give on getting rejected? So if somebody is trying to network with somebody else and they're just not interested in connecting with you, do you have any thoughts or suggestions for how to handle that?
Oh, sure. Great question. As far as, and I'm hoping we can kind of dig into a little bit. So if they want to, I'm going to throw something else if they want to get more clear. If we're looking at it from a networking perspective, someone just doesn't want to reject you. First of all, you can't take it personally. Number two, what are they rejecting? Are they rejecting you as an individual? Are they rejecting your product or your service? One of the things that I like to educate is that you can't take things personal. Ask them, find out what are they rejecting. Say, well, if you're selling, my old life I used to sell security systems. So they said, well, I don't want to buy a security system. Say, no problem. I understand. I'm not here to sell you security systems. I'm here to learn a little bit more about you and your business. Here trying to find out how I can help you. Not trying to sell you anything, but here trying to help you. And you have to let the individual know that you know people. You know people, that you believe in helping people. And if they still don't want your help, just okay, no problem. I'm sorry this wasn't a good fit, and just kind of politely let them know. So, if I know anybody that needs your service or product, then I'll go and refer them. So I hope that answered the question on that end, because there will be some people who will simply reject you. There are some people who don't want to deal with you. There will be some people who don't want to hear anything you have to say. But remember, when you're networking, you're not trying to sell. You're simply just trying to build a relationship. The relationship has to be mutual, but also follow your gut. I think too many times we don't follow our gut. We want to make as many sales as possible. We want everybody to like us. And in a real sense, everyone won't like us. Everyone won't like what we have to sell or what we have to offer. But the most important thing is that you want to build a relationship with the individual, preferably business, but maybe not. If you can't do it as a business, just as a simple acquaintance. Okay, well, you know what? I can accept this no. I won't take it personal. And you just keep their business card. And like I said, if you know somebody who may need their service or may need their product, simply refer them and then have them mention you. So I hope that helps out. If you need to go deeper, feel free to type in a question mark on it, or I can give you an example. So I don't want to leave you hanging on that, and because like I said, rejection is very common in the business world. But what you want to do, I can't help but keep stressing again. I know it sounds like a broken record. Keep building relationships. It's all about relationship building. I have many people that I know that will never hire me as a success coach. Don't know why, but I've built great relationships with them that they will refer people to me, just because of our relationship. Remember, it's a give and take relationship. Let's go ahead and move on how to build networking to build success. Like I said, we've already talked about attitude. We've already talked about, I believe, confidence. We've talked about follow-up. We've talked about goals. We've talked about how we need to initiate. One of the things that we need to also understand is that we need to have a strategy when it comes to networking. A strategy for building great relationships. Can't say it again. We have to have a strategy. All too often you have individuals who work at companies, especially, I'm sorry, go ahead. Okay, forgive me, I'm sorry, I thought I heard something. We have individuals that work for companies, account executives, or those who may be in network marketing. They go to networking events, and they tend to socialize in the same circle. Big mistake. If you are working at the same company, whether it's in sales, marketing, advertising, or network marketing, when you go to a networking event, split up. Both of you do not need to work in the same corner. I can't tell you how frustrating it is when I go to some networking events and I see 5 people working for the same company, sitting at the same table, talking amongst themselves at a networking event. Question is, what good is that? There's no strategy. You're simply there, all five of them at the same table, talking amongst themselves, with a room at this time, I believe it was 60, 65 people, and they're sitting together. Big mistake. Strategy, either we come together, or if we all come together at different times, you work one side of the room, I work the other side, then you come back and take notes. You can come back and then you can collaborate. But if you're all sitting at the same table doing the same thing, think about it for a second. That makes really no sense. It's illogical. I don't want to call it dumb, but it just really makes no sense at all. It's not even productive, because you're there and you want to be around your friends. You're there, you want to stay in your comfort zone. Being in the comfort zone is not good in building great. It's not good at networking for success. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So what you have to do, you have to learn how to split up, take some notes, come back and compare. So you got to have a strategy. So you have to ask yourself the question. When you go to networking events, if your networking event starts at a certain time, here's a strategy. I want to be the first one there. Every time I go to a networking event, I'm always there 25 to possibly 30 minutes before the networking event starts. Why? Because I want to meet the host of the networking event. A few people are there, but it's also a strategy because I'm already planting my seeds with some of the networkers who are already there, because I'm able to talk to them a little bit more on an intimate basis, where I can, and it will shorten up my follow-up, but also too, I'm able to find out who they are. They know who I am. So when I'm meeting other people at the networking event who may need their product or service, I can automatically point them in the right direction. That is a strategy, networking for success. Because if you just show up there without a strategy, it's not good. Think about it for a second. It's a networking event. I'm gonna pick a certain time. Let's say a networking starts from 6:30 to 8:30, and you arrive at 8 o'clock. Why? Number one, You probably got caught up in work, but you're late. You've already missed pretty much everything, so you're coming in, you're playing catch up. Is it effective? Not necessarily. If it's a more intimate event whereby smaller group whereby there's some teaching, there's some lessons going on, especially like lunch and learns, maybe like for an hour and a half. You're showing up towards the end. It sets a bad precedent, and then it makes you look bad as a business owner, because if you're coming in 10, 15, 20 minutes right at the end of the presentation or before the networking is over, people are going to just look at you. They may, unless they know you, they really don't care too much about you, because somebody could be saying, you know what, how come this person came in late? The person was disrespectful, they're late, and they may call you a whole bunch of other names I'm not going to really get into. But if you're there early, that's a strategic move, is to always get at a networking event early. For those in sales, when I worked for ADT in the Maryland, D.C. area, one of the things that we were always taught was to always arrive at our appointments 15 minutes early. That really didn't have a problem for me, because I always try to arrive 20 minutes early. But if you arrive 15 minutes early, there was always a secret. Most people who are homeowners at that time, when I was selling security systems, they would say, well, you know what, if the person comes at 6, they have time to talk because they know you come in at 6. However, if you show up early enough, you kind of throw them off guard. So they may have already communicated and discussed among themselves, well, we're going to say no, or we're going to tell them we're going to think about it no matter how great their presentation is. Coming early kind of throws them off, kind of shows them, hey, look, I'm about my business. I'm here to do business with you. I'm here to help you. So I've kind of thrown off every objection that you may have. That's just a psychological trick. So use the same thing when it comes to networking, when it comes to using your strategy. Show up early, talk to people, don't promote your business. Even though they will ask you about your business, tell them what you do, but treat your business like an appetizer. I'm sure most of us have gone out to a restaurant at one time. An appetizer is just simply that. It's an appetizer. It's a small taste of what's to come. So what you want to do in the networking, in your networking time strategy, give them just a small taste so that they can call you. Give them a small taste so that they will have, so that they'll say, you know what, you are the person I need to talk to. So that's what you have to do. You have to use strategy. And I know, we'll make sure, are there any other questions real quick? We have any other questions? Feel free, because I know time is running short. I think we got like about maybe about 15 more minutes. So a couple other points I want to kind of share with you on how networking leads to great success. You have to become visible. You have to be visible and work your room. Visible and work the room means, going back to our theory, you can't stay in the corner, and you have to work the room. You can't stay on one side of the room, work the whole room. That means you go from corner to corner, space to space. Networking can be so much fun because you want everybody to get to know you. You want to be seen, not just heard. You want to be seen at different networking events, because what happens is that the more you're seen at networking events, the more people remember you, the more people will refer you, and the more people will want to get the chance to know who you are. I love going to networking events where I know a lot of people, because that means I'm doing my job. And that means some of you may be saying, well, Sinclair may be staying in a small mix. No, I'm not staying in a small mix. I try to cast my net out as wide as possible. But when I'm visible, people know, one, that I'm serious about networking. Two, that helps me to increase my network. I think I said 3. Also helps me to know more people that I can help and refer business to. And 4, it gives me a great opportunity to get in front of more people, to run my mouth, to let people know what I do, what I offer. But also, when you go to a networking event and you're visible with people, you may see some people in the room that you know from another networking event that you have already met. Well, guess what? You can walk over to them, introduce yourself, say, hey, how's it going? Good to see you again. All of a sudden, if you built a great rapport, they will in turn introduce you to some people that you need to know. But you have to become visible. If you're not visible, nobody will remember you. That's why it's always imperative that you always work the room. You have to network for success. Also, I want to tell you what I want to suggest that you do while you're networking. Always think of your colleagues. Think about your friends who are in business for themselves. Invite them out to your events. If they can make it one day, fine. If they can't make it on certain times, try to keep on inviting them. If they don't want to come, no problem. If they just push you off, sometimes you gotta wipe your hands and say, okay, and be done with it. But you want to help other people. That's how networking is going to lead to your great business success. Is that once you start networking and you invite clients, you invite people you're trying to do business with to certain networking events, guess what? It lets the individual know that, you know what, they care about my business. They want more than just getting a contract from me or an account with me. They want to help my business grow. So that's one of the great things about it, and it sets you apart from your competitors. It sets you apart from anybody else. Because think about it for a second. If you are a business owner and someone's trying to do business with you, and you're on the fence on whether to choose them or someone else, they call you up and just out the blue say, you know what, Mr. Miss So-and-so, I'm going to this particular chamber meeting tonight that I'm a member of. I thought it would be a great event for you to come to. You could be my guest. You already got the ticket, and you can have them sit at the table, or you can have them sit at another table, and you start introducing that person to your connections. Think about the credibility. Think about how much more successful that you will become because you brought somebody that you're trying to do business with to your event, and you've introduced them to your contacts. All of a sudden, what happens is they will get more business, and now that makes you look good. And I can't guarantee you 100% of the time, but there's a great probability that you will get the account. But you should always be trying to help other businesses grow their business, because the more you help them grow their business, the better you look, the better you will feel, and the more doors will open up to you. Any questions on that before we talk about the last part? All right, the last thing I want to talk about, and I think that's something that we really need to deal with. We have to be us. What I mean by us, when we network for success, we have to be our own authentic selves. I can't be like someone else. I can't be anyone else. I can only be me. So what happens now is that you have to look in the mirror and you have to ask yourself some hard and some serious questions. What do I like? What do I dislike? What am I good at? What are my strengths and what are my weaknesses? Your strengths you continuously build on. Your weaknesses you work on so that you can turn those weaknesses into strengths. A weakness for some people may say, well, you know what, my weakness is picking up the telephone and calling someone. After I meet them, that may be your weakness, but now you can practice so that it can become your strength. Put it in your mindset, you know, I need to make at least a few phone calls a week to these potential clients, set up a meeting, just for a cup of coffee or tea. And what happens now, you're turning that weakness into a strength. Don't keep relegating on your weakness. Don't keep staying in your weak zone. Whereby you say my strong zone is just, I just want to text everybody. I'm great at social media. I'm great at doing this. No problem. That's great. Continue to do that. But whatever you're weak at, continue to build on that, because remember, we're trying to be successful in everything that we're trying to do. From the time we wake up in the morning to the time we retire at night, we want to be as successful as possible. So you have to get to know who you are as an individual, know all of your weaknesses, know all of your strengths. Also, in knowing who you are, you have to know what you're passionate about. You're going to have to say, you know, am I passionate about my business? Am I passionate about what I'm doing? Do I love what I'm doing? If you don't love what you're doing, and I'm not talking about just the customers, because I know we can't always be in love with what we're doing every day, because there's deadlines, there's timelines. Some people may get on our nerves. Some people may rub us the wrong way. But in the general point, do you love what you're doing? Or are you passionate about it? Because if you're passionate about it, it will show. If you love what you're doing, you will go the extra mile. Are you passionate? Do you really love it? If you can look in the mirror and say, you know what, I'm not passionate anymore, I don't love this anymore, then obviously it may not be for you. Then you need to sit down, gather your thoughts, maybe take a weekend, maybe take a weekend trip, and ask yourself, have you truly lost the passion, or are you burnt out? If you're burnt out, you can always refuel yourself. But if you don't want to do this anymore, then guess what? It may be best to move on so that you can become successful to something else. So I think one of the things, like I said, networking, how networking leads to great success, I think it's a beautiful thing. We always have to network. I know my father, my father told me when I first decided to go to the University of Maryland, he said, son, I want you to network, network, network. I didn't take his advice. I met a lot of friends. My networking was in the classroom. A whole lot of people wanted to network with me in the classroom, but I went there. I said, I'm here just to do my homework. I'm here to study, and then I'm going home. Participate in very, very minor activities. I mean, minor, maybe like 1 or 2, but it was class, then come home. He was trying to tell me about this whole networking concept eons ago, back in the 80s, early 90s, but I didn't listen to him until I went to the business world. And I finally understood when I'm in the business world that networking simply opens doors for you. So I just have to want to let you know that, I'm always here to help. I mean, as I'm looking on the screen, you guys have my information. You have my phone number. You have my email. You have my LinkedIn. I'm always passionate about networking. A couple of friends that had called me the networking guru because I'm networking all the time. You have to be you. And guess what? I'm still not perfect. I'm always still making a mistake here, making a mistake there. But one of the things I'm always doing, I'm always following up, and I'm always trying to help people. So to become successful, you have to have the right attitude, because remember, it's your attitude that will lead to your altitude. You have to be confident, because no one wants to do business with someone who is not confident in his or her ability to carry out what they said that they're going to do or what they will deliver. Lack of confidence is not attractive. Lack of confidence will not bring people to you, but rather they will deter people from you. Then you have to, when we are with the attitude, with the confidence, like I said, we have to follow up. I'm sure you probably scratching your head right now. So you know what? There's so many people I didn't follow up with. Well, guess what? It's not too late. If you have business cards, if you know some people that you've already talked to and you haven't followed up, email them, call them, apologize. So, I'm sorry for not following up. Don't lie. Just say, you know what? I've apologized. I haven't followed up with you in quite some time. Can we grab a cup of coffee? 3 things. Remember, we have 3 things. One, a little bit more about you, your business, and how I can help you. Let them know, and if they're sincere, if they really like you, if they really want to do business with you, or they really want to share what they're doing, they'll meet with you, and then you can open up that connection. Follow up. Then, like I said, you got to have goals. What are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? How many people are you trying to meet? How many appointments are you trying to set? Not for sales, but for building effective relationships, building relationships. So we talked about that. Then also you got to initiate. You can't wait on people to call you. You've got to call them. You have to be the one to take the lead, because if you don't take the lead and you wait on them to take the lead, you may find yourself disappointed. You may find yourself not building your sales funnel. You may find yourself not successful in business because you're so busy waiting on them that you haven't taken the lead yourself. Also, like I said, then we have to be passionate. Passion. Do you love what you do? If you don't love what you do, it's hard to get people excited to do business with you. If you don't love what you do, show your passion, because people can read right through your eyes. People can read through your spirit. People can see it in your eyes, and people can hear it in your voice. Also, with the last minute, before we close out, also remember, everything has to be strategic. Strategy. When you go into a networking environment, what strategy are you going? If you're going with a group of friends, don't all hang together. Don't all socialize together. Everybody work the room, come back, compare notes, find out what didn't go well. Then you also have to be yourself. You have to be, you work on your strengths, work on your weaknesses. And don't worry, don't get upset if you're not strong in one part, because you still have time. No one says that you have to be perfect in everything. The problem is, if we don't work on what we are to be working on, then we can get better at what we can get better at what we need to get better at. You have your strengths, continue to build on your strengths, but turn your weaknesses into strengths by practice, practice, practice. I go back to University of Maryland football team. They practice Monday through Friday. They got physical training, they got practice, and they got film. They all go throughout the practice so that on Saturday they're able to step out on the field and play the game. That's what we need to do. We need to practice, write down what went well, what could we improve on, continue to practice, go to networking events, talk to people, expand our business, learn as much as possible. And then whenever we go to networking events, we already know exactly what to do, how to do it, and then we can put everything that we've learned, not just in practice, but right into the game. And guess what? You will find yourself succeeding in business through networking, networking, and networking. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, feel free.
Great. Thank you so much, Sinclair. If there are any questions, we have about 3 minutes or so we can get a question or two in. Feel free to type your question into the question box. Just as a quick reminder, a follow-up message will be sent today that will have a recording of this webinar included, so you can refer back to it at any point in time. And the recording will also be on our YouTube channel, likely by tomorrow, so you are able to view it in that location as well. And we have bi-weekly webinar Wednesdays happening. So the following webinar after today will be on October 10th, and it will feature, it's a financial webinar about how to manage debt and maintain wealth at the same time. So I'll give just a minute or two here for any last minute questions. If you would prefer to save your questions to talk to Dr. Grey one-on-one, his contact information is on the screen that is being shown. So feel free to reach out to him directly to discuss your own personal situation or get better clarification on a more individual basis. Sinclair, it looks like we've covered everything today. Is there anything you'd like to say to quickly wrap up before we end the webinar?
Well, thank you so much. It was my pleasure. I hope all of you enjoyed it. I am available. Feel free to email me, call me. All emails come directly to me, so you don't have to worry about third parties. So I want to let you know, you can network. Never tell yourself what you can't do. Always believe everything is possible. It's never too late to network. You can network starting today and every day. And if you network every day, properly and effectively, you will find your network getting stronger and stronger, because it's not so much about what you know, but it's about who you know, but also who knows you.
Perfect. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Sinclair, for hosting today. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and go Terps.
Thank you.